talk to them. They can hear you.
Mm-hmm.
Hey guys, we're having some technical difficulties on our TV, so bear with us just a moment.
You might be able to see me, but I can't see you. I can't see your comments, or you can't see what the video is capturing. And I can't see that we're tuned in. I think it's the try that other buttons, honey. The little box. Just go through them. There it is.
Yay!
Oh, we got there. Yay! Hi, guys. It is nice to see you. I'm sorry I'm late. We were having some problems because our settings got changed and we were having problems finding our way back to the right settings so that I could see you on my screen and respond to everybody. Hello, Irene. Hi, Thelma. Hi, Terry. Hi, Glenn. Oh, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, Glenn. Mary R. And yeah, so thanks for being there. Today we're going to do a refresher on tying bows. I don't have a lot new for you today, but I realized last night or Wednesday night, when I was in class and people were needing bows, that everybody was handing the bow maker down to me. It's definitely time for a refresher. So if it was a time for a refresher for them, it's probably time for a refresher for you too. So if you've got your bow makers handy, I'll give you a minute to grab them. Hi, Elsie, and hi, Adeline. Good to see you, Catherine. Good to see you guys. So grab your bow makers and some ribbon. I'll wait for you just a minute and we can have a little refresher on bow making. We can also go back and watch this later and we'll tie the bows together so that you can watch this later and go back and tie some bows. I want you to come in pretty close here, honey. Bryson, I came out here and cut all kinds of ribbons. That's good. Okay, the ribbon or the bow maker that we have still at this point is this red one. We have had a few of these blueberry bow makers. Hi, Kim. Good to see everybody. We've had a few of these bow makers over time, and we've had the pink one, and we've had different ones. But I think mostly I'm going to work on this red one today because it's the one we have the most of. And I'm going to start you out with, we're going to do a piece of single-sided satin ribbon. That's probably our most common one. Single-sided satin. It really looks beautiful. Say that single-sided satin 5 times really fast.
No thanks.
When I use my ribbon, the first thing I do is choose one of these little marks across the bottom. All that these do is hang on to your ribbon. Okay, so you can see you could have a lot of ribbons going at one time. I'm not talented enough to have come up with any designs that require that I have, a dozen ribbons at a time going. 10, I guess, is what they have, 10 slots. But that's kind of what these places on the bottom are. And I'm going to leave myself a little tail about that long. I'm going to put it through the bow maker here. And I want the satin side facing me. Okay. Then I'm going to, let's do a 2-inch ribbon. I'm going to wrap my ribbon. I'm going to go down between what I'm going to call the number 5 little one and the number 1 big one. I'm going to try and see if I can do this way. This is really crazy to try this, but I want you to see it like you'll see it on your bow maker. This is the only one I'll probably do this way because this will make me loopy pretty quickly. Okay, and then I want you to see how I'm picking up just one peg? I went down between them and I came back up right next to it, catching just one peg. Now I'm going to go across the bow maker and I'm going to pick up just one peg on the other side exactly the same way. Okay? All right. I'm going to go down. Once I have done that, I'm going to go down through this hole. I'm going to come up between the teeth. See, we have that gap. I'm going to come up through that gap. Then I'm going to let go of the tail that I started with. I'm going to make sure I'm right in the middle. And I have the piece that just came up from between the two tine. And I have the piece I started with. And I'm going to tie that in a bow. Sometimes it helps with these little ones too. Press down with your finger while you get this going. I'm going to tie a half knot right in the middle. And this, make sure that hits right in the middle of your bow maker. And we're going to slide right off the end. And look what we've got. Sometimes you have to turn the satin to face you a little bit. You can do that. I'm going to give this what I call what often is called a whale tail. It's not just me. Sometimes people call it a mermaid tail. And I'm going to fold it like a taco with the fold at the bottom. And I'm going to cut upward at an angle, and I get a notch, an even notch cut out of it. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. Hopefully we get about the same amount of ribbon. I don't always. I agree with you, Thelma. Once you really master the bow making, you never worry about tying a bow again. If you're wondering where you can get one of these, there is one place you can get them that I know of, and that's our store. You can get a red bow maker like this one with the magazine. It's ridiculously expensive. I'll just tell you that. It was originally produced by Tattered Lace. They're now out of production. And there was, when I found out that they were closing them out, I bought all of the remaining stock from my distributor. So I still have probably 100 in inventory, but nobody but us has them. But there's our beautiful bow, guys. When I go to put it down on my card, it's going to be absolutely gorgeous. See that? So easy. So let's do it again. I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. I still have a nice little piece of ribbon here. I'm going to do exactly the same thing again. I'm going to put the tail through my bow maker, like so. Okay. I'm doing this upside down so you can see it. We'll see if that's a good strategy or not. See how I'm going to go down between the smallest peg and the first large peg at the end. That's what I would call my number 5. Then I'm going to come across the bow maker. I'm going to catch this number 5, and I'm going to catch it just like this. Bring it back across. I'm going to go down through the hole. Okay, I'm going to come up through between these two tine where that gap is. See that? I'm going to come up through there. I'm going to let go of my end that I started with, and now I've got two ends to tie. I'm going to find the center of my bow, and I'm going to tie a half knot. That's all you have to do. A half knot. If you tie a whole knot here, instead of a half knot, it's going to be really bulky. So I just want you to tie a half knot. Just one loop, like you're starting to tie your shoes. And here's our bow. Now, if it's a little off center, you can wiggle it a bit and get it on center. This one, I want to show you, I could actually wrap around my card by keeping my tails on my bow out straight. Here's a card blank. The big card blank, a littler one. I don't know. This will work, I guess. Oh, here's a smaller one. Yeah, here's a smaller one. So I'll assume for the moment that I've already covered my card with paper. And see how I could wrap this right around my card by keeping my tails straight like that. I'm proud of you, Glenn. You made a bow. Yay! And then I would actually, instead of wrapping this around my card, what I should be doing is wrapping this around the cardstock that I would apply to my card. Are you with me? I have a let's just pretend for a minute that I have a 5x7 piece of, or an A6 in this case, piece of cardstock. I'm going to wrap this around my cardstock before I put my cardstock on my paper. Now, I want to show you how I would apply that to my card. I feel like I should have had a piece of paper ready to go here. I probably could borrow one of these. That's true. Well, let's just use one of these. I have a piece of my '49 and Market here. I'm going to cut it to the size I would need. I didn't realize what a mess I've got on my desk. You probably do because we were a little bit zoomed out. I'm going to come on. Slide this in here. I'm going to cut this to 3 7/8. By 5 5/8. Then I'm going to trim off my end piece here, which I allowed for when I cut that. So I've got my piece of cardstock that I'm going to apply to my card. And I've cut it just a little bit smaller so I have white border all the way around. See that? So if I wanted to put a piece of ribbon on here, actually, this purple will look okay. It has purple on the card. Now, I'm going to take a piece of my finger lift tape. I'm going to lay my ribbon face down. Lay my ribbon face down. I'm going to take a piece of my finger lift tape and I'm going to run it right across the back of my ribbon. Completely across the back, even the bow part. Just like that. And next, I'm going to go ahead and take my finger lift tape backing off. Just tear it and pull it both directions. And I've got this nice piece of ribbon to apply. I'm going to take this purple ribbon. I think I like it better on the bottom. I'm going to put this piece of purple ribbon right down on my card. It's going to stick nicely because it's got that adhesive on the back of it. I'm going to wrap these ends around right onto the back of this piece, trim off any extra. And then my bow, my seated bow, will be in a nice position and ready to put right onto my card face. So that's how I use those, what I call an inline bow. Okay, so we've done that. We've done a regular one with the tails pulled down and cutting whale tails. We've done an inline bow. Next, let's do a double bow. Pick a different color here. That was single-faced ribbon that we were just using. Let's do a double bow and let's use some organza. I grabbed the purple again. I'm very predictable, aren't I? I'm quite predictable. I'm going to grab my bow maker. This time I'm going to face it towards me. Okay, I'm going to face it towards me, but we're doing exactly the same thing. It just will make it easier for me. Okay, so I'm going to come over here, and I'm still going to do a 2-inch bow, which is what it's going to give me if I use just these small pegs. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to come down between the number 5 and the big number 1. Okay, I'm going to come across, whatever I do on one side, I have to do on the other. So I'm going to come across my bow maker. I'm going to pick up just that first one again, only one peg. Okay, this time we're going to do something a little different. Instead of going down and tying off, we're going to come back across here, and we're going to make another run at it. We're going to pick up a number that's number 5 again, just like I did the first time. And I'm going to pick up the number 5 once again. This time I'm going to go down through the hole. I'm going to bring this back up through the gap. And we're going to tie off these 2 ends. I let go of my starting end. I think the word you're looking for is ambidextrous, Catherine, able to do stuff with either hand. That doesn't describe me very well, by the way. I am so dominantly right-handed that it's ridiculous. Now let's see what our bow looks like this time. It's so pretty. This is a double. It looks just like the singles that we just did, except that I have 2 pieces of ribbon wrapped around instead of just one. So here's my single, and now we've just tied a double. Isn't that pretty? I could do this as an inline bow, or I could pull these tails down, and I could put it on my card. Let's go ahead and cut our whale tails. Make a taco. Fold it up so the fold is on the bottom. Cut upward and towards the end of the ribbon. Not towards the bow, but towards the end of the ribbon. And you get that pretty little whale tail. I could do the same thing on the other side. Fold a taco. And cut upward at an angle towards the end of the ribbon. And I have that pretty little double bow. It's okay. It's okay, Terry. Don't worry. You're going to be able to catch up. You're going to be able to catch up. Because we're going to keep doing basically the same thing. It just is that we are going to wrap different pegs. So don't panic. If you've lost us, it's fine. You can watch back later too, but you're going to be fine. So there's my double. Isn't that beautiful? And that time what we did differently was we tied it with organza ribbon. Shall we try a triple? Let's try a triple, doing just what we've just done. I did make a single twice. Yes, Mary. And then we just made a double. This time we're going to do a triple. It's okay. Don't panic. It's all good. It's all good. We're going to, I'm still going to make a 2-inch bow. The only difference is between this and moving out here further is the size of my bow. I'm going to come under this first peg. And just like last time, instead of bringing, I could bring this down and tie it off, and that would be a single. Last time, what we did was we came across here. And we went right back to that number 5 again. Whatever I do on one side, I have to do on both sides. This, if I tied this off right now, took it down through the hole and brought it back up and tied it off, I would have a double ribbon. But this time we're going to try a triple. So I'm just going to do the same exact thing a third time. I'm going to go down and pick up that number 5 peg. I'm going to come back up and pick up that number 5 peg. Okay. There we go. Down through the hole. I have 3 layers on now. 3 layers. I'm going to use the ribbon that is going down through the hole to kind of shimmy these other pieces. Once we start getting more pieces of ribbon in there, it's helpful to kind of shimmy these together, you know, just kind of bunch your ribbons by pulling on both sides of this. I'm going to cut my ribbon off. And I have 3 layers this time. This time I'm using a printed organza. Actually, I love this ribbon. It's so very pretty. It's just a snowflake ribbon. It wasn't an expensive choice. I think it was maybe a Michaels seasonal ribbon that was like in their dollar bins. And here is my triple ribbon, my triple bow. Once again, I could use this as an inline bow if I wanted to. Look how full that looks, guys. How full and pretty that looks to have 3 layers of ribbon there. So easy to do. And yes, it's substantial, but because it's organza and because it is, we only have one layer of, we only have a half knot holding it together. This one will scrunch down really nicely for use on your card. Okay. Now I could pull my tails down and I could tie, I can pull these any way I want to. And I can tape or tag them in any direction I want to. If they're not being agreeable, I can actually use a little piece of tape to hold them in place. But isn't that beautiful? So we've done a single, a double, and a triple. Just that easy. Just that easy, guys. Let's try something new. If you're feeling like you're getting panicky because we've done too much, it's okay. It's going to be very similar to what we just did. This time, I'm going to use another piece of organza. And I'm going to tie what I call my favorite bow. This is my very favorite. This is what I call my 515. And it sounds scary, doesn't it? But it's actually very doable. I'm going to go down just like I usually do between the 1 and the 5. I'm going to come up the other side of that single peg. You'll only want to grab just that single peg, guys. This is different than my very first video on this on YouTube shows. If you went back to the very beginning, you would see that I used to tell you to do it differently. I'm not going to confuse you by telling you how I did it when I did it before. But what I'm going to tell you is different now is that the loops won't hide inside each other by doing it the way I'm showing you now. So I've got my 2 5s. I'm going to come back across my bow maker, and this time I'm going to pick up this first big peg, the number, what I call the number 1. And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to do exactly the same thing. See that? I'm going to pick up the number 1. I'm going to bring one of this back across. I'm going to go to number 5. Go to number 5. So I did 5, 1, 5. And this time, I'm going to go back over on the other side, because what I do to one side, I have to do to both sides. So this time my ribbon was at 5, a little peg, and then 5, and then 1, and then 1. And then I went back to 5 and 5 again. Okay? I'm going to go down through the hole. I'm going to use this ribbon that I'm pulling through to kind of shimmy those pieces together a little bit. It just makes it easier to tie. Shimmy my pieces together. Look at my ribbon, and I want to... See you later, Thelma. Shimmy my ribbon together, and then I'm going to tie this off with a half knot. Elsie, we enjoyed having your pictures. I hope everybody liked that when I sent it out in the newsletter. I didn't get any comments about it. I was surprised. I thought a lot of you would comment on that. Okay, here we go. My favorite bow, guys. This is our 515. See how it changes our bow if we put the larger loop in between the 2 small loops? Isn't that beautiful? I love this bow. This just makes me happy. See how we've got our lavender there? I could do exactly the same thing. I could lay it down on my table, and I could run a piece of tape across the back of it, peel my tape, and stick it to a piece of cardstock that I'm wanting to attach. Or I can pull down the tails any way I want to. Sometimes I like to let these be really artsy when I put them on my cards. So I might have one tail going one direction and let the other tail go the opposite direction. I like to kind of have them artsy. That's what I call it, artsy. But however you want to position the tails, you just need to move them to where you want them to be, and then attach your bow with them in that direction. But isn't that beautiful? How easy was that? Oh my gosh. Yes. That was so easy, wasn't it? You want to do that one again? This is our 515. Maybe what we should do is step it up a little bit. This time I'm going to use a piece of double face satin ribbon. This is probably our most challenging ribbon because it's slippery. I'm going to give you a trick that Margie came up with that makes these bows great. Wait till you see what we do. Okay, are you ready? We're going to put the tail through just like we always do. I'm going to go to my 5. I'm going to go to my 5. So far, I'm doing nothing whatsoever different. Go over to the 5 on this side. I'm going to come across to number 1. And number 1, I'm going to go back to number 1 on the other side. This is a little heavier ribbon too. The easiest ribbon to practice with is probably organza or crepe. And I'll show you some crepe here in a minute. Crepe's my other favorite ribbon to tie with. Organza's easier to find. You can get organza almost anywhere. I'm going to go down through the hole. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to stop right here. Stop. Well, no, let's do this. Let's go down through the hole. Looks like I'm not doing anything differently, doesn't it? I'm going to come up through the ends here. I'm going to use the two ends to kind of shimmy everything in place. Okay, but before I tie this bow off, I'm going to take a piece of my finger lift tape. Now remember, I'm working on this is actually the back of my bow. I'm going to put a piece of finger lift tape right here in the middle of my bow before I tie it. What that's going to do is catch the ribbon and not let it. Actually, I had a different ribbon there on my tape. Not let it unwind. If your tape is, or if your ribbon is big, like this one's a pretty big one, it doesn't even hurt to put two pieces. So I can put two pieces of tape inside here. This is all going to be on the back, so it's not going to hurt a thing. I'm going to take my paper off my tape. And I'm going to tie off my bow just like I normally would. Scrunching everything together, pull it all together just like I normally would. Now there is a little more bulk to this. Make sure you keep your bow, your tie, your knot in the middle. This is how you can tell if you did it right. You should have 5, 1, 5. So you can see from the other side of your comb that you're doing it right. Okay, let's slide this off with our bow maker. We have a beautiful double-faced satin bow. And this one is not going to come untied on us because we've used our Margie trick. We're going to channel our inner Margie. Isn't that great? Just a little piece of tape in the middle, and it won't slide loose. It won't untie itself. So that's really, I thought that was really clever when she came up with that. Isn't that just beautiful? That's gorgeous. Doesn't that look like it needs to be on a really springy card? Something with daffodils and a lamb. I love that. Okay, you ask, what's the easiest ribbon to practice with? This is my favorite style of ribbon. It's expensive. I'm not even going to lie to you about that. This is called crepe. You can tell it's crepe because it's very lightweight. It's very shimmery, but it's got these marks in it that looks like it is what's the word I'm looking for? Creased, or it almost looks unkept. Crepe is fabulous. So I'm going to show you that same bow. Let's do the 515 again. It's my favorite. I can't help myself. Let's do a 515. I'm going to put my end in my bow maker. It's going to sound really familiar at this point. That's okay. Wrinkled. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you, Glenn. I can't find words sometimes. Wrinkled is the word I was looking for. Thank you, Glenn. I'm going to pick up my number 5, the small tine. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to pick up my number 5 again. I'm going to come back and I'm going to pick up number 1, right straight across my bow maker, and then wrap it around number 1. I'm going to go around number 1 on the other side. And here is a number 5. I'm not sure where it's made. I bought it from a U.S. distributor. We have quite a few colors in our store, and I have it. Usually, I have it 1 yard packs, and I have it, like where you get like 7 or 8 individual pieces in colors, and then I also have it in rolls. It's not inexpensive, but it is so fabulous. Okay, I have exactly the same thing going. Exactly the same thing. I'm going to tie this off just like I always do. But there's something special about crepe ribbon I want you to see. There is when I pull it off, this adds virtually no bulk at all. The crepe ribbon ties off so that the center is almost just as flat as the bows are. Got that a little off center, didn't I? You can usually shimmy it down just a little bit. I think that's better. And the crepe ribbons are just beautiful. They're my all-time fave, but it is a little bit more expensive. But I love that wrinkly finish. I love the fact that it just doesn't add anything. It doesn't feel like there's anything under my fingers when I do this. So for cards that are mailed and stuff, crepe is a wonderful choice in ribbon. Okay, so we've done several 515s now, which are my favorites, so it's not surprising we've done lots of them.
All the crepe ribbons have that sparkle in them.
Yes. That's just when it's just the nature of the ribbon. It has that beautiful sparkle. I'm going to put some whale tails in this one so it's truly done. I'm folding my taco. Fold at the bottom.
What's your favorite way to attach the bows to cards?
My favorite way to attach my bows to cards. He's just going to grab it for me. And most of you have this at this point. I hope you do. My favorite way to attach my bows to my cards is with the best glue ever. Now, is it the best glue ever for everything? No, but it's absolutely the best glue ever for ribbon. I tell you why. Tell me why, Debbie. I would love to tell you why. The reason that it's the best glue ever for ribbon is that, have you ever noticed that when you are attaching a bow, sometimes your bow lets go, that the adhesive will remain on your card, but the ribbon lets go? It's because it's kind of fibrous and it doesn't really connect really well. Well, this solves that problem. This is the best glue ever. And what I like to do when I use the... Whoa, got all carried away there. I hadn't used this one for a while. I want to use just a touch. That was not just a touch. I want to use just a touch, just a fine line or a little splotch of my glue. I can put some on my tails too to hold those in the position I want them to go. But I don't want a lot of glue. I only need just the tiniest amount. And then you set it aside. You do not touch it. You set it aside until all of the parts that are currently white turn clear. Do not attach it until all the parts that are currently white go to clear. It won't take long because I mostly didn't put a lot on, but I'm just going to set this aside and let that glue dry, which seems counterintuitive, but yes, Mary, you're absolutely right. It dries into a glue dot. Now, why is that different than just putting a glue dot on my bow? Because the liquid glue gets into the fibers of the ribbon and it will never let go. it becomes a part of the fiber of the ribbon. That's why I love the best glue ever for that job. This is actually one of my favorite ribbons ever. We got to tie a 515 out of this one. Look, this is one of my favorite ribbons ever. This was one of the woven iridescent ribbons. It's kind of a cranberry color on top and blue underneath. Oh, it's so pretty. So it's a liquid glue dot. Now, the company that manufactured that is now out of business. The person who formulated this glue has retired. And to my knowledge, she hasn't sold the brand. So I can't get it anymore. I have maybe a few bottles left in stock, but you saw it based on the amount we use and the size of this tube. One of these, as long as you keep it capped, is going to last you forever and forever and forever. You don't need to have 47 of these bottles. They last for a very long time because you're not using much of that glue. Come over to my 1. I did my 5 and my 5. I'm going to do my 1 and my 1. I have to show you how beautiful some of this woven iridescent ribbon is. 1 and 1. Down through the hole. Yeah, no. I'm getting too old to buy brands. But it is a beautiful product to use. This woven iridescent ribbon was originally from Mayarts. We bought a lot of it when they put this on clearance, and I can't believe how beautiful it is. Now, as you pull this tight, I want you to turn this so that the blue side, the back side of this ribbon is facing you. It's important that the cranberry side face the front. So just twist it a little bit to get it to go to the front. You can actually twist it to make it go the direction you want it to go. I'm going to slide my bow off. And here is one of my absolute favorite ribbons. You see the depth of color we get? Look at that sparkle. And you can see the blue from certain angles. It's just one of my favorite ribbons. I love it. I love it. I love it. Isn't that beautiful? It's so pretty. There we go. Love me some woven iridescent ribbon. Several of you bought the Timeless collection this week. And yes, several of you bought the Timeless collection this week. And I want you to know there are 2 ribbons that are just fabulous with the Timeless collection that we have in stock. This won't surprise you at all. This light baby blue crepe ribbon we used just a minute ago. This baby blue crepe ribbon that we used just a minute ago goes fabulously with the Timeless collection. And this one's less obvious, but it's called Parrot Green woven iridescent ribbon. This parrot green is so beautiful with that paper. It is a light sage green, which matches the papers in the pack beautifully. And see how it has the light blue edging in the weaving, and then it also casts off because this ribbon kind of casts a color. It also casts off that light blue color that's involved in the roses. This is just like a perfect. You could not get a better match than this. And it's called Parrot Green, and we still have some in the store. If you bought the Timeless collection, you will not regret getting this Parrot Green ribbon. It's in the woven iridescent ribbon section. Just go to our Bows and Bow Makers, go to ribbons and woven iridescent. This is called Parrot. Parrot. Oh my gosh, so pretty. So let's tie something with this. I don't know how this is going to turn out. I'm just going to try something funky. I do that sometimes. I'm going to double everything. I have enough ribbon to do that? I think I have enough ribbon to do that. I'm going to double everything. So I'm going to do 5. Let's just see what happens. 5. Again, like I'm going to do a double bow. Then I'm going to do a 1. Push these down because I got a lot of layers to put on. 1. 1. I want a double bow here too, so I'm going to do a second number 1. 1. I got 5, 5, 1, 1. Guess what I'm going to do next? 5, 5. 5. Yes, that's a lot of layers. 5. Then come back and do a second layer of 5s. You wonder why the tying are so long? Because sometimes you're tying a lot of layers. Okay. No, well, not this one, but we are going to tie a Kathy Girly Girl bow here in just a minute, Mary, because I love that one. In honor of our friend Kathy Girly Girl. I talked to her a while back. I finally had a chance to talk to her, and she's just kind of moved on to other crafts at this point. So she's not other brands and other crafts. And so she knows that if she comes and sees us and hangs out with us and watches What's New Wednesday and things, she's going to end up with a lot of products she already has, some of. So she decided that she's kind of stepping back from the group and from the store a bit for now. This is one that probably would benefit from a piece of tape in it. I didn't do that, but I could have. Let's see what we get. Actually, I think it's pretty. We have a lot of loops in it. We do have a lot of loops in it, but I think it's pretty. You like that, Bryce? Yeah. See the blue cast in that ribbon from different angles? This is why it goes so well with that Blue Roses paper. It's so, so pretty. And we've got all these little loops and big loops, and it's just fun. It's just fun. That worked out well. I miss Kathy Girly Girl too. I do. She was always full of great ideas. Okay, let's do something different. Let's do a loopy bow. Actually, before we do that, we've been talking about Kathy Girly Girl. Let's do a Kathy Girly Girl bow. Here's the piece that Bryce cut me that's nice and long to do a Kathy Girly Girl bow. We have some beautiful ribbons at very good prices, Terry. Okay, we're going to do a Kathy Girly Girl bow. I'm going to start. I'll leave myself a little tail there. I'm going to go to 2. Let's go to number 2. Looks like we're going to do a really tiny. By the way, you can tie bows that are so small you could make earrings out of them if you wanted to. I'm going to go to 2, back up between 2 and 3. I'll get my ribbon turned there. I'm going to keep my ribbon as flat as I can. I'm going to come back over to 2 on the other side. Okay. I'm going to go to 3. This is a Kathy Girly Girl bow. Three. Four. Four. So we've done 2, 3, 4. Let's do a 5. I'll show you. We could tie a really tiny bow for earrings. It's so cute. 5. I'm going to come back over on this side. And I'm going to do a 5 here. So we've done a 2, 3, 4, 5, each one singly. Now I'm going to go back and do a 4 again. 4. Kathy came up with this just playing with her bow maker. Number 4, and she showed it to us, and it was just so much fun. 4, 3. I'm just counting backwards. 3. Number 3 again. 3. I'm going to go to 2. If you need a spare bow maker, you should probably think about getting one, because when I run out, you're not going to find them anywhere. Okay, down through the hole. So before I do that, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, now down through the hole. I'm going to use my ribbon to kind of scooch this up on my bow maker. And just because we do have an awful lot of ribbon here, I think we'll use a Margie trick and put a little piece of tape in the middle of our bow. A little piece of tape in there. I'm going to tie this off nice and tight, but only in one loop. I stuck my end of my ribbon into my tape. I'm going to try and make sure I got that right in the middle. And pull this nice and tight. Here's the back side. Are you ready? Here we go, Kathy Girly Girl bow. Got to give Kathy Girly Girl credit for this one. Look at this. Look at that bow, guys. Where are you going to find something like that unless you make it? Is that something? I think these would be beautiful on hair clips. Wouldn't they be beautiful hair clips? Let's take this and glue it down with some best glue ever. Isn't that fun? What do you guys think of this one? Look at all those loopies. Come in a little closer on this one, honey. This is just the most amazing bow. Isn't that just the most clever thing? There we go. Good picture, honey. Wouldn't that just be fun hair clip? I think that'd be a really cute hair clip for a kid or even for an adult. Isn't that beautiful? Just glue that to a hair clip. Moving the camera so it has to refocus. But isn't that beautiful? Wow. That's a Kathy Girly Girl bow. In honor of our friend Kathy Girl. Her online name was Kathy Girly Girl. I want to remind you that I'm just using my paper scissors here. These are Scotch cheap scissors. They're like $4 or $5 a pair. I think I have them in the store for $5 something maybe. Scotch cheap scissors. Buy cheap scissors, but get a good scissor sharpener. Good scissor sharpener. even though I've been using them with paper, which inherently dulls your blades, I can run this through this paper, or this Fiskars paper sharpener a few times, just running it right through, and I close my blade as I run it through. Run it a few times through there, and it restores the sharpness to my...
Glenn would like to see you use 2 different color ribbons.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, let's try 2 different color ribbons in a bow. All right, let's see. I'm going to use 1 satin and 1 organza. And I'm going to do what my friend Glenn has asked me to do and put 2 bows or 2 ribbons in 1 bow. I think we'll do maybe a nice long piece of that white. But I'm going to use these 2 ribbons, 2 different colors. Untangle all the ribbon from my bow maker. I have quite a pile here. All right, I'm going to put both pieces in. I've got the satin on top and the organza on the bottom. I'm going to go to 5. A little slippery, but I'm going to try and keep these in the same order as I go. I'm going to go to 5. Sometimes it's fun to use 2 different widths here. This might be better if I had a little wider organza, but you'll still get the drift. 1, 1. Well, this is going to be closest to whether I have enough ribbon. Teal. 5. Oh, it's a close one. 5. I think we'll make it, though. Cut the organza to be about the same size as the teal. Down through the hole. Scooch all that ribbon up. Scooch it down at the 2 ends. I'm going to tie this in a half knot. I'm going to pull it so that hopefully my satin stays on the top. I'm going to pull it tight. Could have put a piece of tape in there if I wanted to. Here is our ribbon, our bow with multiple colors. And I can separate these petals out a little bit if I want to. I always call these petals like the petals of a flower. If I had a wider organza with my satin, it would actually automatically show underneath. I had 2 ribbons that were pretty close in size, so it doesn't show quite as much. But there you go. We have our organza and satin tied in the same bow. Now, sometimes it's fun to do this with like those cheap Christmas ribbons. Just tie like a single bow with a piece of organza and one of those cheap grosgrain Christmas ribbons that you see so much of. It's still pretty though, isn't it? It gives it a neat texture and finish. Okay, we've done that. I wanted to show you, let's see, I have a couple other things to do here. This is some of that metallic ribbon. It makes up nicely. It's not too bad to use. Let's just see what we get. Let's tie a double a double number 5 with this sparkly kind of orangish ribbon. We'll tie a double with this one. I'm going to go to 5, then I'm going to go to 5 again. Down through the hole. Scooch it up onto my bow maker. As long as I'm pulling it up, I might as well let that help me pull it together, right? I'm going to tie this off. Just showing you a few different kinds of ribbon. This is a double. Be 2 loops the same size. Isn't that pretty? This metallic ribbon is not directional. So all I have to do is just smooth it out. I don't have to twist it one way or the other. They are so sparkly. It's fun to use these on cards because they're so sparkly. Will really be a feature point of your card. Also great on things that have a lot of glitter on them. Okay, got a lot left of that. Let's just tie a whale tail or cut a whale tail here. Notice I cut my whale tails fairly long. That means that I can use them longer. I can cut them more when I go to use them. There you go. Thanks for stopping by, Kat. Okay. Some of you told me that they like to use these little leftover pieces of ribbon as tabs in journals. They like to make little tabs for journals out of these leftover pieces of ribbon. I'm all in favor of anything I can do that will use up all the little scraps. That's fun, isn't it? Little tabs for your journals. And they would be pretty, what's the word I'm looking for? Glenn, what's the word I'm looking for? They'd be pretty tough. They would last a long time, I think. That's the word I'm looking for. Durable. Durable. They'd be pretty durable. There's the word I was looking for. Okay, let's see what else we have for ribbon here. I wanted to show you. Some people have asked, what do you do with these really wide ribbons that you have in the bow making part? Am I making an actual bow with it? Usually what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this down onto my cardstock. Actually, let's go back to this as an example again. I'm going to put this onto my cardstock in a solid piece, and then I'm going to put it on my card. And when I attach my card face, I'm going to put foam squares under it because this is fairly heavy ribbon. I'm going to put foam squares under my cardstock so that this has plenty of room to pass. It doesn't create a buckle there. That makes sense? So that's what I like to do with this kind of fancy, wider ribbon. Now, this particular choice doesn't look great because, you know, I'm not trying to match it to anything, but imagine how beautiful this would look on like that. Well, the paper we were just talking about, that Blue Roses paper, imagine how beautiful that would be. It'd be gorgeous. So you can wrap your ribbon around. It doesn't take much then. My card face is about 6 inches. So if you had about 8 inches of this ribbon, you could go one way and you could go the other way with just probably as little as 5 inches. You could go the opposite direction. So it doesn't take much, and you can get a beautiful finish to your card applying ribbon that way. Let's look at our bow that we put the best glue ever on. I want you to notice that for the most part, it looks like it's ready to go, but, oops, I had it turned backwards. But I don't know how I got it turned over. There's a few places on here where it's still wet. Don't use it yet. And I've sold hundreds of these bottles of best glue ever since I started my bow making classes, because it just is the best product in the world. I'm stuck on it. It just is the best product. But in all that time, I've only ever had one person come back to me and complain. And she wrote in a review for the best glue ever that said, Debbie's never steered me wrong on anything before, but this best glue ever is just a joke. It's terrible. It's terrible. It doesn't tack anything. It's just the worst glue I've ever gotten my hands on. So I wrote back to her, and I said, actually I called her, and I said, did you let it dry before you used it? And she said, was I supposed to let it dry? And I said, yes. It has to dry clear like a glue dot before you actually apply it, to your project. Did you let it dry? And she said, no. And I said, let's try that and see if that resolves the problem. Sure enough, she said, oh my gosh, it's great. So, problem solved. Let's make a loopy bow. I like these because I think I'm going to leave myself a little room to tie this around if I want to. I like these. I'm going to make this at like 4. A loopy bow at 4. Let's do that. And what I mean by a loopy bow at 4 is I'm going to go back and forth for as long as I have ribbon on the number 4 only. So right side, left side. I'm just taking it back out because it got kind of curled there. I like them to stay flat. Oh, that best glue ever. I've got that bow up there, and I'm flipping the ribbons around, and everything's catching in my best glue ever bow. Is it going to be tacky? Oh, yeah. Tacky, stuck, not tacky. It won't look gross. It just will be very sticky. So I've got 4 loops. I think I'll go for a 5th, maybe even a 6th. Let's make it 5 loopies on each side. That should be a good loopy bow. I'm going to go down through the middle. I'm going to pull up, back, You
were off camera.
I was off camera, sorry. I'm going to come back up through. I've got my 2 ends to tie. I'm going to add just a little tape to this. The tape needs to be shorter than my bow. This is going to be like a 1 and maybe half or 3/4 inch bow. Littler bow. Tend to make them about 2 inches because that's the size I like to use on a card. But sometimes you want it smaller, sometimes you want it bigger. You can do what you want to do. Make sure I tie this right in the middle. Pull it tight. Pull this off. And I have a bow with little loopies on each side. Loopies. This would be good, kind of casual bow, if you're wanting to use like hemp. What's the other word for that? What's the other word for hemp cord, Glenn? Or Mary or somebody. What is that I'm trying to say? I'm allergic to it. It's Shoot, you macrameed with it.
Yeah.
Jute.
Shoot.
Jute. These look really cute done in like jute on a, like a gardening style card. Isn't that cute? Super cute. That easy to tie. Can you believe it? That easy. Let's try doing that with baker's twine. I love baker's twine. You guys know this about me. I enjoy baker's twine. It is so fun to use. I love to use it on my nautical cards. Make it look like rope. These might be a bunch of short pieces, honey. I don't know. These are a bunch of short pieces.
Another one.
Yeah, I need a different one. He found a nice tied off piece and we thought it was longer pieces, but this is short pieces, which are great if you're burlap. Yeah, same thing. Yeah. Burlap made out of jute. Okay. So let's get a different piece of baker's twine. I was afraid those might be too short. All right. You can use baker's twine to make a fun bow. Let's tie these at 5s. I can make this bigger if I want to. In fact, yeah, let's do a 1. Let's use this small ribbon, a small material, and let's make this a little wider. Now it does fit tight between the teeth. I call these the teeth of my comb because this looks an awful lot like a comb, doesn't it? We're just going back and forth on number 1. And we just keep going. We got 5 loops so far there. Let's make this have like 7 loops. It's going to be a nice wide bow, so we want it to have plenty of loops. This will be number 6. 7. Down through the hole. Cut it off to be able to do that, but down through the hole. Use my ribbon that's going under to kind of scooch up those other pieces. I'm going to disconnect this from my holder down below. I'm going to put a tiny piece of tape right at the
Knot.
tie mark. Yeah, just right at the knot. I'll actually put a couple little pieces in there. I just want them right at the knot, though I don't want them to go clear out on my edges. Okay, I'm going to pull my ends tight. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and tie this one time with a half knot. That tape I put in there is going to help hold it in place and make sure that's nice and tight right in the middle. What I love about these is they're very whimsical looking bows.
Good night to Elsie.
Good night, Elsie. It's nice you could drop by, friend. These are very whimsical looking bows. To me, it almost reminds me of a butterfly. Isn't that fun? I like that. I like that a lot. I would not hesitate a bit to use this on a more whimsical card. I think that's great fun. Okay, so let's see. I'm trying to think what we have not done. I think we've done everything I said I was going to do. Let's look at this bow. It's still not quite dry. You're seeing the downside of using the best glue ever. It is slow to dry. I still have just a tiny bit of white showing. But as soon as it's dry, I can stick this down and it's never going to come loose from my project. So what I recommend is that you just keep going with your project. Pretend you're done with it and set it aside. Ooh, this is a pretty ribbon. I have to tie something out of this. Let's try a double. I think that's about all I have room for. It's just a beautiful ribbon, though. This is an organza with little dots in it. So pretty.
If you didn't have best glue ever, what would you recommend?
You can actually use your Cosmic Shimmer to glue things down to your card. And the Cosmic Shimmer works pretty well. Don't wait for it to dry. Don't wait for your Cosmic Shimmer to dry. But you can, if you have kind of a time crunch, and who amongst us doesn't have time crunches now and again? That's what I call just-in-time card making. It goes right along with my just-in-time gift shopping most of the time. But
just-in-time gift wrapping.
You just-in-time gift wrapping, yes. So yeah, we're a just-in-time family. Look how pretty this is. You get that? So I hope this has been helpful to you guys. We've done all different kinds of bows. Let's just kind of recap. We've done singles. We've done single bows, one loop, and with tails, one loop wrapped around my card. We've done doubles. We just did a double. That's a double. We've done doubles. We did a triple. What was our triple? Nope. This one, the snowflake, I think was a triple. Yes, it was. The snowflake was a triple. We've done triples. We've done 5-1-5s. They're beautiful. My fave. We've done that with double-faced satin. And we remember with double-faced satin, we really, really, really need to put in the... Oh, Mary thinks she beats us with 5 minutes to spare. You don't beat us, Mary. We like gift bags in our household. So, double-faced satin ribbon. Yeah, really need to put the tape in this one. We have our double. This is our 5-5-1-1-5-5. We did just for fun. Didn't know how that would turn out. Turned out okay. We have our butterfly or our whimsical ribbon out of our baker's twine. And our beautiful 5-1-5 out of this burgundy blue. You won't find this ribbon in the store anymore. Sorry, guys. I got the last of it. We've tied little loopy bows using our 1/8" ribbon. If you're ever stuck as to what to do with that 1/8" ribbon, oh, you know what? I promised Catherine, in case she comes back and looks at this tomorrow, let's tie a tiny little bow for earrings. Let's tie a tiny little bow. We'll come back to our recap because we have a couple important ones we haven't looked at yet. Let's try a 1. And let's try, yeah, I think a 1. Let's see what happens if we try it 1. 1. 1. I just want to see how small I can make the bow. Got it wrapped around there. Go down, under, back. How tiny can we make these bows? Just a nice recap. Every once in a while we need to do a recap on bow tying, don't we? So we can remember all these choices we have. How tiny is this bow going to be? This bow is going to be super tiny. If I wanted to make earrings out of it, I could. Let me tighten it a little bit more. Oops. I just pulled it off center. I might have to redo it. Okay. Come in real close. You can make when Bryce's mom, when Bryce and I were just hanging out together. We hung out together a lot before we were ever a couple. And I gave Bryce's mom a Christmas card of a decorated tree. And one of the decorations I put on the tree were little tiny bows. There's a little tiny bow. You can make a one, just less than ½ an inch.
Put it on a piece of paper and your fingers out of the way, because it's like trying to focus on your fingers. And there you go.
Yes, Deborah One Craft. I think we do have. I'm not positive, but I think we have a 2024. See our little tiny bow, guys. Imagine what you could do with a yard of ribbon tying one of those. And you can just glue these to earring bases. Isn't that fun? But I used these bows on my decorated Christmas tree. They were so cute. So cute. And when Bryce helped them pack up to move to Idaho, he found that Christmas card in her China hut. She still had it. Okay. Look at this nice long piece of ribbon with this little tiny bow in it. Okay, back to our recap. Here's Glenn's double ribbon. Now, again, this would be better. I didn't have one quite wide enough to really show off this technique. But if I had like a 3/4 inch organza or even a 1 inch organza with a ½ inch ribbon, it would really show off this technique for doubling up your ribbons. But you can do that. And we cannot forget featuring once again our Kathy Girly Girl bow. Kudos to Kathy Girly Girl if she ever watches this. We love your bow design. Okay, so I think, guys, oh, we also talked about wrapping extra wide ribbon. So we've done a lot in a short period of time, but I think we've covered everything I wanted to cover. In my classes, we often make a card and put a bow on it, make some bow pins, but you can go back to our other online tutorials to see that. So yeah, let me see what we can do. I think we must have one around here somewhere. We'll look and see what we can do, Deborah. I think I'll remember your name. Okay, so we have done lots of fun ribbon work today. If you've enjoyed this, please give me a thumbs up. I have to admit I really enjoy them, and it also helps YouTube to know that we're offering things that people like watching. I would also like for you to when we sign off, which we'll do momentarily, I want you to hit that refresh button at the top of your screen and tell me which bow technique you liked the most. What did you think was the most? Or what do you think you're going to use? Which ones do you think you'll use? If you don't have this bow maker, get one of these bow makers. Okay? And finally, if you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button. You don't want to miss a thing that we're up to. We do fun stuff all the time here. So we always have a good time together. So I think that's it for now. I will see you back on Wednesday. And oh, Mary says she'll be drawing a Happy Mail winner this month based on people leaving comments. So Mary will send out Happy Mail based on you leaving comments. So let's stay well out there. And for now, I'm going to say good night, Gracie.